Hi, this is Aditya and welcome to Sankham MarTech channel. Today we are going to see how to do the AEM project setup using Maven archetype. And we are also going to see some of the issues which you might encounter during the project setup. Maven archetype versions keep changing and the issues which you might encounter also might keep changing on time to time. So in order to be able to debug those issues, you should have some understanding on Maven Pom.xml. So we are going to see what is that Maven Pom.xml and have some basic understanding also in this particular video. If you are liking the videos which I am doing, please subscribe to my channel and please hit on that bell button so that you get notified whenever I do a new video. Let's get started with the presentation. Okay, so the first question is, what is Maven and why should we use it? So earlier what used to happen is, let us suppose we have a project, and in this project using the Java code we need to connect to a Oracle database. So then what we used to do is, we used to go to internet and find the JDBC driver for Oracle and download the JDBC driver, and then which is a jar file. So jar file is nothing but it is the collection of classes. So if there are 10 classes, we select all of them and we zip it, right? So in Java language, that zip file is called as jar. So it starts with so it ends with .jar extension. Okay, it's nothing but a zip of all those 10 classes. So let us suppose we have to connect to Oracle database. Then the Oracle team might have written certain classes which enables the Java code to connect to the Oracle database. So all we need to do is just download that jar and import it in our class, and then use those methods to actually connect to our database, like pass the arguments like user ID, password, and then just connect to the database. All those methods are already written by the Oracle team. Okay, so we just have to download it and put it in the library and then use it in our code. Okay, so this was the earlier method. But the problem with this method is, every time we want to connect to the database, we'll have to find that jar, download it, and then put it in the libs folder. And our code might be dependent on multiple jars like this, right? Not only just Oracle JDBC driver, but there might be another 10 or 13 or even 100 libraries on which our code is dependent. And those libraries are written by some third party or some other developer, and we just have to use it. Okay, so every time we need to download and put it in the library and add it to class path, and all this was a pain earlier. So to solve all these things, Maven has come into place. So the central problem in the earlier process is that we will have to visit multiple sites to download multiple libraries. So the thought is, what if we can put all these libraries in one central location and ask every developer to download it from one location, instead of having it to be downloaded from multiple sites and multiple locations, and we really don't know from where to download also sometimes. Okay, so that is a problem Maven is solving. So Maven is a central repository, and any developer who has developed this jar and who wants to expose that jar to other developers, and if he wants to allow other developers to use it, then all he needs to do is upload that jar in that central location, and from there any developer can download it and use it. Okay, so that's the basic solution of Maven. Okay, so now let's understand about Maven and what is the Pom.xml in later stages of this video. But what we'll do for now is, we'll try to see if Maven is installed in our system or not. Okay, so all you need to do is, you have to go into the command prompt, and you need to just type mvn version. Okay, once you type the mvn version, you need to see the version number just like this. Okay, if you are not seeing this version number, and if you see some command not found error, then it means that Maven is not installed on your system. So what you need to do is, you first need to install Maven onto your system. Okay, so for that you need to go to this particular website. I'll give the link in the description box. Okay, and hit on the download button, and the zip file will get downloaded. So all you need to do is, you just have to go to one of the folder and unzip that Maven file. Okay, so this is the unzipped version of that Maven. Okay, and then you need to go to this start menu, and then you need to type environment variables. Just go to the environment variables, click on this environment variables, and open this path. okay, and just add this Maven path here so that the Maven command will get recognized. So just make sure you restart your system once you do this, and then you again come and type here MVN version, and you need to see this version number. So once you see this version number, you can be sure that Maven is installed on your system. Okay, so once you have installed the Maven, then the second step is to execute the AEM project archetype. So just go to Google and type AEM Weekend project, AEM Weekend tutorial, and you will get this tutorial. Okay, so this is the best tutorial you can follow to understand about AEM. So you just have to follow step by step and you will have a good hands-on from this. Okay, so this is what we are going to follow in this video also. So all you need to do is go to this project setup, and then if you scroll down, you will see the Maven command which you need to execute here. Okay, so this is the command which you need to execute to download the AEM project. So the first question is like, what is this archetype? What is this Maven archetype? So again, earlier what used to happen is if we have to develop any web-based project or any web application, then we need HTML files, JavaScript files, CSS files, JSP files, servlets and other things, right? These are the many types of the classes which are available. So what should be the project structure for it? Like if there are 10 developers, then we cannot have each developer having the file put into his own folder or something like that, right? So we need a defined structure with which every developer can work on, and that structure should be as per the best standards possible. So this is the use of this Maven archetype. So AEM team has created a project structure and already has defined like which file should go into which folder and to which location. So that folder structure of the project is already defined, and also what all dependencies are there for that particular project to execute. Okay, so earlier we told we are dependent on the JDBC connection or something like that, right? Similarly, for AEM project to run, what are all the libraries which we are dependent upon? So all those are already mentioned as part of the Pom.xml in the Maven archetype. So all we need to do is just generate the project using this Maven archetype, and we are all set. So just copy this command and paste it into one of the notepad. So if you observe here, so this is the group ID and artifact ID. Okay, so this is the way in which we recognize any of the package which is available in Maven central repository. Okay, so we need three things. One is group ID, and second thing is artifact ID, and the third thing is version. So with these three, you can uniquely identify any jar in a Maven repository. So let me show you the Maven repository also once. So all you need to do is go into the Google and type Maven repository. Okay, and then you will get the Maven repository here, wherein you can search any of the repository. Okay, so for example this one you can just open and see. Okay, so these are all versions available. So if you click on any of the version, you can directly download it from here, or else you can just have this, see here. So this version of this package, Apache Zookeeper server, and this version, right? For this version, the group ID is this one, and the artifact ID is this one, and version is this one. So this is the command which uniquely identifies this particular package. And once you add this as part of your Pom.xml, then automatically Maven will connect to this central repository, and it will download this particular package and get and put it into your local, and then add it to your class library. So all you need to do is just add this text into your XML file, and everything Maven does it. Okay, so that's the advantage of using Maven. Okay, so here we are specifying the same thing. What is the group ID, artifact ID, and the version name which we need to download, and then we are giving the app title here, and this is app ID. So this is the root folder. What is the root folder name into which your project should go? Okay, so this is the one which identifies that, and then the group ID. Okay, so all this explanation of all these things, you can go into the documentation and check it out. So we are not going to go into details of all this. Okay, so all the properties available, you can go here and find it out. Okay, these are all self-explanatory. Okay, if you are creating a new project, then you need to customize all these things. Okay, so from here you need to customize all, both things will be same, but from here what should be your app title, what should be your app ID, and what is the group ID with which your project has to be identified uniquely, and what is the artifact ID with which your project has to be identified, and what is the package name. Okay, so that is the one thing which you need to give, and also what is the version. Okay, so version here is like 001. This is the basic version hyphen snapshot. So version can be alphanumeric. Okay, and what should be the AEM version. Okay, here it is cloud, but if you want it to download it for your version, so then if your version is 6.5.0, then just make sure you enter the right version here. Okay, so that's it. And then currently we are not changing this, we are using that weekend project only, so we'll use the command same thing, and let's execute this one and see what happens. Okay, so just go to the command prompt and try to copy and paste it here. Okay, see, now nothing has happened. So this doesn't work basically. So why it didn't work is we have the \n here, so \n is not accepted. So just to speed up the process, I'll tell you all the issues here. Okay, so one is \n, and the second thing is this slash doesn't work in Windows, so we need to remove this slash also. Okay, and in some of the window versions what happens is we need to put these things in inverted colons. Okay, so like this, we'll have to put these in inverted colons to make it work in Windows system. So this command will work in Linux if you remove the \n, but it doesn't work in Windows. So let's follow that. Okay, so let's remove all these and replace it with space. Okay, so that's the first thing we need to do. So, and then we also need to add this inverted colons here. So here, if you already have the inverted colons here, then just remove them and put the inverted colons for overall text. Instead of putting it like this, you put for the entire text. Okay, like this. Okay, so just remove this one, that's it. Remove this one. Okay, and here too you will have to wrap it around inverted colons, which are double quotes. So that's it. So we have wrapped everything here into inverted colons, and if there are any inverted colons already, we just removed them and wrapped with inverted colons all around the text. Okay, so this is the command which will get executed in Windows. Okay, so I'll give the command in the description also for reference. Okay, so you can just copy this command and paste it into your command prompt. Okay, so but before pasting it here, so you just make sure you are into the folder in which you want to create the project. So I have come into this folder. This is where I want to create the project archetype. So what I will do is here I'll just type cmd, so it will open and come into that directory. So here I'll paste this command and just press enter. Okay, so then all that project structure will get downloaded into this particular folder, and it gets compiled and built, and we can just deploy that compile package into AEM only when there is no error. So let's see if there is any error or not in this. We need to wait for some time for this to actually get downloaded and then installed. Okay, so now it has completed the process, and if we see here, it is telling the build failure. Okay, and here you can see the error for that. Okay, so this is the error. So it's saying it is searching for something here, failed to execute on the standalone, and some Java exception it is throwing. Okay, it is unable to find the dispatcher / src confd enabled host and then AEM author.vhost. It is saying required privileges is not held. So these are some of the issues which you can land up in while installing AEM archetype. Okay, so for to be able to solve these issues, we need some background on what is this Pom.xml. Okay, so let's understand that. So this is the project in which I have run the AEM command, and here is the project archetype. Okay, AEM guides weekend. So if I go here into my Maven command, I have mentioned this somewhere. See here, artifact ID AEM guides weekend. Okay, so with this name a root folder got created, and if I go into this root folder, this is the project structure which we have. Okay, so this is the entire project structure, and in this entire project structure here we have pom.xml. Okay, so let's open this pom.xml and see what is available here. So this is the pom.xml which I have opened here. Okay, so if you see here, this is the group ID of the current project, and this is the artifact ID of the current project, and this is the version number. Okay, so of the current project basically. So that is what is so all this description and everything until here is about the description of the current project. Okay, so if we come down and see the modules here, so these are the modules. So this is a multi-module project. This is not just having one module, but all these are the modules which are involved in the AEM project. So if you see one by one, right, if you see all, if you go to project structure, you have all, and if you see core, you have core here, and UI front end, you can see the folder structure for UI front end. Okay, so then apps, you have it for apps also, and then app structure, config, content, everything is there. But if you come to dispatcher, right, so if you see this dispatcher, the dispatcher.ams and dispatcher.cloud, so these are the three entries which are there here. But if you come and see here, you have dispatcher and dispatcher.cloud, but dispatcher.ams is missing. Okay, so that's one thing which we need to identify. So modules, whether all the modules which are included here, the folder structure for those modules are there or not. So that is the first thing which we need to check. But here clearly I think dispatcher.ams is missing. Okay, so that is why maybe that error came up. So the error may not be the right error which it is throwing. It may not point you to the actual error. Okay, so you need to identify which particular line is causing that particular error. So what we'll do is we will try to execute or build this project again to see if it can throw any proper error. So what we need to do for that is we need to type mvn package. Okay, mvn package will actually build that project again. Okay, so just type mvn package and seal, and let's see what happens. Okay, it's throwing this error. It is saying the pom.xml is not available. So if you go to this particular directory, right, then what it is saying is right. This is the directory in which we are currently, and here pom.xml is not there. We need to cd into this folder. Okay, so let's cd into this folder and see what exactly the error it throws if we run this command. So mvn package again, and let's see what error it throws. Okay, so now the error is bit different. So what it is saying is it is trying to find this one. Okay, child module dispatcher.ams. It is trying to find this, and it is saying the pom.xml for this doesn't exist. So what it is trying to do is it is trying to search for this dispatcher.ams, and we have already seen that the folder structure, in the folder structure it doesn't exist. Right here it doesn't exist, dispatcher.ams doesn't exist. So that is what is the problem. It is unable to find this dispatcher.ams, and that's why it is throwing the error. So if you go into this dispatcher and go into this pom.xml file, this is the pom.xml for dispatcher.aem. So here you can see the artifact ID, and this is the parent artifact ID dot, and this is the child artifact ID. Okay, but if you see here, we are including the parent here. So this is called as inheritance. So we just inherit every configuration which the parent has, and then on top of that we give this artifact ID of the current pom.xml. Okay, so this is the parent path. Okay, so this is the dispatcher.ams actually, but in the folder structure they have given dispatcher. Okay, so all we need to do now is just change this to dispatcher.ams so that the Maven can find it. Okay, so here earlier it was dispatcher, so it was unable to find. If you see this Pom.xml again, here you have dispatcher, dispatcher AMS, and then cloud, right? So you don't need this dispatcher anymore because it doesn't exist anymore, right? So just comment it out, save this Pom.xml. So we have dispatcher AMS and dispatcher cloud, and we don't have the dispatcher, so I just change it the folder structure, and that's it. So, and I have removed this dispatcher because that doesn't exist anymore. So all we need to do is now execute this command mvn package again, and now it should run fine. So it will take some time to execute, so let's wait for some time and get back again. Okay, so again we have an error here. Okay, so if you see the steps here, right, so it is coming as part of the validating the package. Okay, so it is trying to validate this particular package UI apps structure snapshot zip, and that is where it has found this error. Okay, so compilation failure. So this is a compilation error, and it says that this Java file does not exist. So this component, okay, so in this package, okay, components model header, it is trying to access this particular Java file, but that doesn't exist. So that is the error. Okay, so to solve these particular errors, we just have to need some idea about what is the project structure. Okay, so if you go here, right, so this is the main project which we need to be interested in. So this is UI apps. So this is the folder where all the components will reside. Okay, so if you go into the JCR root and apps, weekend, and then components, so these are all the components which are available out of the box. So these are all AEM out of the box components. Okay, so they are present in UI apps. Okay, and the second thing which we need to be interested in this is this core. Okay, in this core, what happens is all the backend code will be there. So in this UI apps, all the UI code like HTML, CSS, JavaScript for a particular component will reside here. Okay, but in the core, the backend code of that particular component like Sling models, servlets, and all this code will exist in this core. Okay, so if you go to this core, src main java com adobe AEM guides. So here you have all this folder structure again. You have models, you have listeners, filters, schedulers, servlets, everything you have here. Okay, so here in the models, you will have that models also for that particular component. Okay, so what error it throws is in this particular component, this component is based out of this model. Okay, so this model, but then this model is not available. So it is trying to find that particular model in here. Okay, but that is not available. So that is what the error it is throwing. So it could be that the out of the box AEM whatever has given has some issues there, and that is why it is not working. So all we need to do is we just have to go into this particular project structure. Okay, so just copy this path and go into here. Okay, so until here maybe logo, so just copy that and open run and paste it here and go into this folder. Okay, so this is the HTML file. Okay, so in this HTML file is trying to access this particular model and it is trying to access models.header means header.java, which doesn't exist basically. Okay, so that is the issue. So if you see here, right, you are in the generated resources. So if I go to this target again, so this error is coming from UI apps and target. Okay, so what is this target? So what happens is whenever you have the code, so the actual code is there in this src. Okay, so whenever you execute this Maven command, the compiled files will get stored in this target. Okay, and it will first go to this generator resources, and it will compile everything and package everything into a zip file. Okay, so that zip file will be available in this target. So first it is generating the resources, okay, and it is trying to validate it. So all this is part of the Maven build life cycle. So first it will build, then it will validate, then the test will get run. So all this is the life cycle process. So while validating, it found the this error. Okay, so all you need to do is just go to this particular folder and just remove this entire thing. Okay, remove this entire logo component from here. Okay, that is one thing. And from where did this logo get generated here? So this is generator resource, right? So somewhere the source is there, and from there that component got copied over to here, right? So that source is there in the source folder. So you need to go into the source folder, okay, into apps, weekend, components, and then go into this commerce folder, because that is a commerce component. If you see the errors here, it is part of the component commerce, right? So then go to this commerce folder, and then you find that logo. So this is the actual component which is throwing the error. Okay, so for now we don't need this component, so just delete this component. Okay, so then you try to execute this command, and now it should work. So all I'm trying to point out here is you need to think through like what is causing this error, why exactly this error is being caused, and try to find the source for it. So I have given the background information, very basic information as what is a Maven and how to look into Maven, right? So other than that build and other things, here you have the properties also. Okay, so in the properties you have what is the version number, what is the core components version number, and what is this Maven plugin version number, what is your user ID password, and how to connect to your local host, what is the port number. So all these details are available here, okay, as part of these properties. And these are the plugins, okay, Maven plugins which are available. So what is this plugin? This plugin is nothing but the external code. Okay, so we are saying that this code has to be run. Okay, so and we can pass on some parameters here. Okay, so this is just an external class. Okay, and this class will get executed during the build process. Okay, and then each plugin will have a goal. A goal is nothing but a method, okay, which has to be executed within this class. Okay, and it will just pick this class using the group ID, artifact ID. It will pick it up and it will execute this goal which is installed. Okay, so and we are passing these parameters to it. So this plugin is nothing but some external code, and you have the profiles also here. So so these are some things which you can execute from command prompt. Okay, auto install package publish and auto install package. So these are the commands which you can execute, and when this command is given, what has to happen also is mentioned here. Okay, so this we'll see once the installation is done properly. So install is still going on here, but after the install is complete, right, properly, then we need to deploy this particular package onto our AEM sites. So we need to first make sure that AEM is up and running. So you need to start the AEM instance first, and you need to execute one command. So if you go to the documentation again here, so if you come down here, they gave this mvn clean install and auto install single package, right, this command. Okay, so this is the profile which we are saying. Okay, so so we are saying clean install and giving this profile. So then it comes to this profile, and this profile gets activated, and then what happens is it will just run this plugin. Okay, run this plugin which is the external code, and it will execute this particular goals which is installed. And this is the configuration which we are passing, which is our what is our AEM instance URL and port number, and that is how it knows how to deploy your package onto AEM instance. Okay, here you have the host name and port, and these names are configured as part of the property which we saw earlier, and this information we are passing it here, and it takes this information, and the compiled package it will deploy onto this particular path. So this is the path in which your package will get installed. Okay, so now if you see here, the code is already successfully executed, so build is success. So when you execute this particular command, okay, when you execute this command given here, which package is actually getting installed? Okay, if you go into this project structure, right? If you go into this project structure, and if I go into this weekend guide, you have all here, and if you go into target of this all, you have this package, right? So this is the package which gets deployed onto your AEM instance. Okay, so if you open this package here, so you what is this all? It contains everything, all the code which is there as part of all these modules. So if you go into this UI app, and if you go into target, you have this UI apps package, right? And if you go into this front end, and if you go into target here, here you have this front end package, right? But all contains everything. So that's it. So all contains everything, and this gets deployed onto your AEM instance. Okay, that's it for this video. Hope you have got a good amount of knowledge. And if you are enjoying these videos, please subscribe to my channel and please share to your friends so that they also get benefited from these videos. Thank you.